Hello, my name is Sonia Dayal-Boyce, and I am a speech language pathologist and certified TouchChat trainer. I wanted to give you an overview of WordPower 60 Basic, which is the file that your child is using. This file was developed by a speech language pathologist named Nancy Inman, and she saw the importance of using predictive language and logical next words. That means when I select a word like my,
My
turn populates. So I could say my turn, or I could say that's my favorite.
favorite.
Predictions will populate throughout the system. So for example, if I select turn,
Turn.
I get options for turn it on or
Turn.
turn the page if I'm
Page.
reading a book. So these predictions are really helpful because it follows those logical next words. The way the system is set up is that your yellow words are your pronouns, your green words with the action man are your verbs, and these are set up alphabetically. So come is at the top, watch is towards the bottom. If I open up the actions, which is this action man on top, it opens me up into more verbs. So I could say, oh, I want to jump.
Jump.
And then it brings me back to my home screen. This is my main home screen that we're going to focus on and mostly be modeling on the majority of the time. I also have my blue words. My blue words are often my prepositions. So words like in and out and up and down and on and off, words that we use really frequently. If you're looking for additional prepositions, they're going to be located under those extra words. So if you go to extra words, this is where I'm going to have next to or front or back or behind. Some pages are going to have this lock page button. So that lock page button will generally be on the right-hand side. And it will, if I select it, then I can stay on the page and I can say, oh, I want to do it again. Let's do it again. And then it lets me stay on the page. If I wanted to get back to the home page, I'm going to find the yellow house. The yellow house is what's going to bring me back to my main page. When I have words up on the top, that is my speech display bar. And that is going to be cleared if I select clear. If there are lots of words up there, especially, you're going to want to hit that clear bar. Something helpful to note is on the iPad application TouchChat, there is an X button in the speech display bar, that top white bar. And if you hold down that X button, if for some reason the child put many different words and it's going eat, 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 and just keeps going and going, if you hold down that X button, it will stop it from speaking. So that's just a quick tip to know. When we're modeling in the beginning, I'm not trying to find every single word that I'm saying. That would be really hard for us to use. It's also really hard to expect a child to use that. So in the beginning, I try to really focus on those key words like I need help.
Help.
And I'm still talking how I'm normally talking, but I'm just touching that key word help. I need help.
Help.
Oh, help me, please.
Help.
Oh, I want to be all done with this. So I'm just selecting one or two words while I'm simultaneously talking. We want to incorporate those pause times as well. So for example, if I go to the eat page, you'll notice that it has a little arrow next to it. So does drink has a little arrow, play has a little arrow, watch has a little arrow. What that means is that it's going to navigate me to another page. So for example, if I go to eat, it's going to open me up then into my food options. Another thing to note is in the top row, generally, it's going to have capital letters. Anything with capital letters means that it's going to navigate you to another page. If it has lowercase letters, it means it's going to speak. So if I select candy, it's going to say candy. So in the beginning, If the child is taking you to the pantry, they really want something to eat. A lot of times our children might take our hand to bring us to where they want to go. That's a time when we are using the device to model. Oh, you're telling me I want to eat. I wonder what you want to eat today. And then maybe they know what they want to eat. They're selecting it from that pantry, and that's your opportunity to model. Oh, you're telling me I want to eat goldfish,
crackers.
or I want to eat cookies.
Cookie.
If you're trying to give a choice, that's when you're going to want to narrow it down and say, okay, do you want to eat crackers
Crackers.
or do you want a fruit snack?
Fruit snack.
And then we pause and wait. Generally, I recommend pausing for at least 10 seconds. It gives the child the opportunity to process what's being asked, especially because then we're making it into that directive, which is more difficult for them sometimes. And if they don't select anything, but they're reaching for the fruit snacks, then you can model and you can say, I want fruit snacks,
snack.
and then give them the fruit snacks. And then another thing that I always like to do is the fruit snacks are hard to open. They're not always able to do it on their own. So I might hand them the fruit snack, and then oftentimes they'll then take my hand and say, I need to indicate that I need help. So that's when I'm going to model help.
Help.
And then I wait and I pause. Give that 10 seconds. See if they'll select it after you. If they don't, that's okay. Then I'm just gonna model. I'm gonna say, "Oh, I need help
Help.
to open."
Open.
I might give another pause again. If they're getting frustrated, that's okay. You just model. You say, "Oh, I will help you open," and then open it and hand it to them. So we don't want communication to be frustrating. It can be difficult, especially when children have ways of communicating with you. They know that I can take your hand and indicate what I want that way, or that you already know what I want. And so it's hard when we're adding a more sophisticated tool to add those words because eventually we want them to use those words that everyone is going to understand. As they get older, we don't want someone just pulling on us to indicate that we want something. We want them to use those words. So, how we do that is when they are taking your hand and bringing you, try to model that language along the way. To say, oh, you're telling me I want to go outside. I want to go outside. Or you're telling me, let's go downstairs. Or sometimes it's you're telling me you want me to go away. There are different ways that we can model that language for them. And then there's a lot of power in that pause time. Pausing really allows the opportunity to give them that chance to say something if they want to. But we don't want it to feel like this is a work tool or it's only pulled out to ask me questions or to direct me with it. So I recommend always starting with an activity that they love. So if they really love bubbles and that's their favorite activity, get the bubbles out. That's another opportunity. I might hand them the bubbles and they might not know how to open it. So I'm going to say, "Oh, I'm going to wait. You could tell me help," and then wait that 10 seconds. It feels awkward to wait sometimes. You could tell me help open. And then I'm going to open it for them. And then maybe I blow the bubble and then I can model, oh, you could tell me more. I can also sign more or I can say more and select it on the device. I want more bubbles. And again, after you do a few trials of practicing more, the next time you go to blow the bubbles, wait and see if they will select more. If they don't, that's okay. You are going to select it. Bubbles are also located under your play page. So I can go to play, and then that can open me up into bubbles. And I can say, I want to play bubbles. I can model a sentence if I wanted to. What's nice about this system is if I'm on a specific page, it allows me to stay on that specific page. On these pages, there aren't going to be a lock page button because it automatically kind of locks you in. But if I select I, you'll see that it opens up my verbs. So I could say, I want bubbles.
bubble,
Or I could say, I like
like,
bubbles.
bubble,
And you'll notice that these words are in the same location on the actions page or on that home page. Like want is always going to be in this location. So it allows you then to use those extra words to be able to model it for them. I could say, I love
love,
bubbles.
bubble,
Again, if there's a lot going on in my speech display bar and there's many words there, I can use that clear button to clear my words. And if I want to go back to my home page, I use the yellow house. In the beginning, we really focus on modeling just on this main page. If for some reason the child is pushing something away, you can model, oh, you're telling me no, I don't want that. And for some of our learners who are learning as Gestalt language processors, where they're taking in language as a whole and sometimes repeating back what you're saying, we can model from their perspective. So instead of saying, you said no, I could say, no, I don't want
no,
that. Or I could say, I want you to stop.
stop,
Because we want to say it the way that we want them to say it back to us. Because if I say, you want to eat, I don't want them when they learn the request to say, you want to eat. I want them to say, I want to eat. So in the beginning, we do a lot of modeling, focusing in on I. And then eventually we'll work on you. We do a lot of my turn, my
turn,
turn,
your
your turn.
turn,
And for some children, they don't always like you touching their device. So that's a great opportunity to say, it's
my
my turn to talk.
turn,
Okay, now it's
your
your turn. And giving
turn,
them that pause time and giving them those opportunities is really important. Let's is also a really important word to follow because we can say, let's
let's
go.
go,
Let's
let's
play.
play,
Let's play blocks.
block,
I can say many different things with that let's. Going up to the top, as I was saying, anything with capital letters means it opens you up to another page. So ABC123 is going to open you up into your QWERTY keyboard. With my QWERTY keyboard, this is a great opportunity to allow them to play with letters and explore with letters. We often do a letter of the day, which can be really helpful to pull that up and to talk about the letter that we're working on. There is also a word finder that is on this page. So if I hit on the iPad, if I select find word, then I can type it in and it will show me where it is in the system. I will say that feature isn't perfect yet. It's better at finding nouns than finding verbs. And when you look at this main page, you'll notice that many of these words are not nouns because 80% of what we say is core vocabulary. So this main page is all core vocabulary words. So that means they're pronouns, they're verbs, they're adjectives, which is under my describe page. I can go and these are all set up as opposites and I can say, oh, it's big or little. This is a page I often will hit that lock page button to stay on, especially if I'm modeling feelings and I'm saying, oh, I feel happy, or I'm feeling tired, or oh no, I'm feeling sick
sick,
if they're sneezing a lot that day, or I'm feeling frustrated if they didn't get what they want. So I can stay on this page and I can model. You'll notice that there are also describe A to Z, so you can find some of those adjectives alphabetically. That's not something we're targeting yet, but this system is built for growth over time. So if I'm looking for beautiful, I know that's going to be under B, and I can find, oh, you look beautiful
beautiful,
today. Again, that home button's going to bring me back. So these core vocabulary words make up 80% of what we say, and they're very consistent across different languages. Everybody uses the word help universally. Everybody says they want to eat. They're consistent across different age groups and different cultures as well too. These words are often the sight words that your children will be learning as they're learning to read. And so they say if you learn the 220 sight words, you would be reading at a second grade level. So we're introducing them to literacy skills early as well. So, this is a great tool to support their communication and support their language growth. AAC really helps to close that language gap because our receptive language and our understanding of language comes before expression. Research has shown repeatedly that AAC can help facilitate the development of speech. And a multimodal communication approach is always encouraged. And what that means by multimodal communication approach is that a child may use vocalizations, they may use words to communicate, they may use gestures or sign language to communicate, they may use their AAC device to communicate. But we don't say that one way is better than the other. We let them communicate any way they want to. But we know that functionally we can't get through life by just pulling someone to what we want. So we have to add in those words and model that verbally and visually. And there's so much research on how this tool can really help to support that language growth and oral language as well over time. Because when children have difficulty with consistently producing intelligible speech, they need another way to practice using language to be able to get that feedback. It gives them that opportunity to play with language, to get feedback on their language. And in the beginning, we want them to explore on their device. Exploring is actually really important for them. We want them to be able to say eat, 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 and that's okay in the beginning. But we also need to respond, oh, you're telling me I want to eat, and then maybe present them with options so that they can learn that their words have power over time. Another tip to know is that I can go into my social page. My social page is my favorite page that I like to model on. On this page, this is where you have access to your greetings. So things like hello and how are you? You have access to important things like I need a break or I need to go to the bathroom. There's access to things like 1 more minute, which can be really powerful, especially if a child is having difficulty with relinquishing an item that they don't want to give up, then we can have them request, "Oh, I want 1 more minute." And then I can hit my social page and go back. It also gives you access to those feeling words like I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm tired, I'm sick. Those protests are going to be in red. So words like I don't want, I don't like that are going to be there. On this page, you also have access to my phrases. So, especially for my Gestalt language processors, I tend to add in more of those phrases that they might need into this situation. So, this is often going to be more customized to the child and will add things as they're learning language. I can use that home button to go back. And then if I wanted to go back into my social page, another one of my favorite pages is this something's wrong page. And this is really beneficial to be able to model when the child is having a hard time. They're feeling frustrated. We can model something's wrong. I need a break. Or something's wrong. Maybe I need a hug. Or sometimes it's I don't want to do that. And we have to give children the opportunity to be able to say that. Or maybe they need some squeezes. I can also go into that I feel and I could say, I feel tired or I feel frustrated. And sometimes it's I feel something's wrong, but I don't know what. Sometimes we don't always have the answer. And so this is just a page that is really helpful to be able to model. Sometimes it's hard to model in the moment when they're having a meltdown or they're having a really difficult time. I'll sometimes wait until they're more calm to be able to model this page for them. But it's a very helpful tool, especially this sensory page. So that's linked here. And it opens you up into different choices. Like maybe I would like sunglasses, or I would like a sensory bin, or a fidget, or I would like to have my weighted blanket, or a squishy, squeeze. All of those words are here. And this can be customized and edited. So you can always reach out to your speech language pathologist to do any editing or customizations that might be needed. This is something that I tend to customize and make it so it's the things that are helpful for them for calming and for coping, so that we can teach them other ways that they can make those requests over time. Going back up to the top, you have access to the people page. So on the people page, we might have family members located here. And then on the school people page, you might have school people that'll be located here. Question page is going to have all of your question words. One of the first ones I always model is what.
What?
An activity we do very frequently is what's in the box. And so we'll do what's in the box and we'll model that word what.
What?
And then we'll work on, oh, let's open the
Open.
box. The action man is just an extension of these green words, and these are alphabetized. As you can see, it starts with answer and goes all the way down to work. There are multiple action words. That's why you'll see some pages have arrows on them. So if I select the arrow over, then I can see even more action words because maybe I wanted to say I want to touch that, or I could say I want to move it. I can also lock the page if I wanted to stay on this page. And then I can use the arrows to go back and forth, or I could use this yellow button to take me home. The social page again is my favorite page. That's where I do most of my modeling is on that social page and then on this home page. Places opens you up into different places you can go. Places you can go in the community, places you can go at home. At the bottom is places you go at school. This also has that lock page button that's available. There's also restaurants and stores, so I could open up my restaurant page and I could select, oh, I want to go to McDonald's or I want Culver's.
Culver's.
And this can be customized to add your child's favorite things and places they want to go. I can go to my stores and I can say, oh, I want to go to Dollar Tree or I want to go to Five
Five
Below,
Below.
and I can model those words as well too. Again, I use my home button to bring me back. I have a lot of words up here, so I'm going to clear it. Next to that is the time page. And on the time page, I model sometimes we have 2 more minutes or we have 5 more minutes, especially when I'm counting things down. I don't worry and work on too much with like the days of the week and months of the year we expose them. But words that are more pertinent, and again, I use this lock page button, is if they're asking for crackers and right now it's not time for crackers, maybe I'll model, oh, we're going to have crackers later,
Later.
or we're going to have them soon
Soon.
in 5 more minutes. So it just allows me to stay on this page and to be able to model that language. A page we model at school a lot is this activities page, and this is also a great page for you to use at home as well too, to talk about the child's day. So I could say things like, first,
First.
First, we're going to wash our
Wash
hands.
hands.
Then
Then.
we're going to have snack.
Next.
It just allows me to be able to talk about their day. It allows me to give them some choices like, oh, do you want to do sensory
Sensory.
or do you want to do blocks? And then wait and give them that 10 seconds of processing time, especially if you're asking them to make a choice. But this has been really helpful to be able to model like, oh, it's time for circle time.
Time.
It's time to do library, and I can model those
Library.
words. This is also a great way to talk about what did I do at school today and to be able to model some of those things like, oh, it looked like today you had library.
Library.
I'm going to hit my home button to go back. And then next to that is groups. And what groups means are they're essentially categories. This is also alphabetized. You'll see there's a lot of alphabetization in this system. So everything is alphabetized except for those animals, just because there are so many different animal categories. But you can see you can go to appliances, or our art page is something that we model a lot to say like, I want
Want.
a I want to paint, or I want glitter.
Glitter.
If I go back into groups, other pages we model a lot is this body page. So especially if a child falls down, I could say, oh no, something hurts. It's my knee. Oh no. Something hurts, it's my teeth. And I can model that language for them. You can also do a lot of modeling on this health page. So if a child isn't feeling well, in the beginning, we have to model those words. That's how we have to teach that receptive language, that understanding of language before we expect that expression. So I could say, "Oh no, I have a sore throat." Maybe the child's coughing a lot. "Oh no, I have a cough." And see how I'm modeling from their perspective, the way they would say it. I'm saying that I have a, or oh no, I have a earache. Ooh, it looks like I need a tissue. And maybe I can hand them a tissue and help them blow their nose. But this is the way that we can model that language and model, like, I feel sick, or we're going to go to the doctor today. Under groups, you have everything from talking about hygiene. So, talking about, oh, it's time to wash my face. It's time to brush my teeth. It's time to wash my hands. I also have access to music pages and nature pages. There's access to numbers, so I can play with my numbers. There's also beginning numbers to be able to model those beginning numbers. I'm going to clear my words. Going back into groups. Next to that is the phonics page. The phonics page is really helpful because when we're working on those letters sounds, when I select, for example, A, it's going to say ah, or if I say M, it says mm. So it's a great way to introduce them to those letter sounds or to help them with that imitation of it, to be able to practice that sound and to hear it. Another page I really like is this reading page. And one of my favorite features is this early books. So if I go to groups reading early books, there's Brown Bear from head to toe, Big Green Monster. So for example, if I select Brown Bear, I could pull out the book I'm reading and we could read it together and we can model Brown Bear, what do you? And I can pause and model C after I model it a couple of times. And then I'm reading Red Bird, what do you? C. See how sometimes those pauses can be a little awkward, but you want to give them that processing time. There are many different books that are here, so this is always a fun page to go to. That sensory page I showed earlier is also located under that groups page, so I can get there either through the group sensory or I can get there through social something's wrong sensory. There's everything from talking about animal sounds and being able to practice like the different animal sounds together. The sheep says, and I can model those. I can go to sports or I could talk about vehicles. If the child really loves cars, I can model, oh, let's make the car go. Car go. So this is a really helpful tool that's there. As the child progresses and uses the device, we might start to use some of these visual scenes where we might add like a picture of the child and then information about them to teach them how to be able to talk about themselves. Say like, my name is Mrs. Boyce. I live in Bolingbrook. I like to listen to music. So that is located under the visual scenes. There's also academic concepts like shapes and colors are located here. So I can talk about my colors and shapes. Colors are also located on this home page where I can select colors. And then I showed the describe page earlier. This is one of my favorite pages that I use. This is the one I often hit that lock page button on to stay on. So in the beginning, we really want to focus on just that modeling during motivating activities. Choose 1 to 2 keywords to point to or model on the device while speaking naturally. and repeat those words and phrases over and over again. The child is encouraged, but they're not required to use those symbols during interactions. We don't want to make it feel like work, especially when we're introducing this new tool. And remember, it's really important to pause. We also want to give that wait time because it allows them to have that processing time. It allows them to find what they want to say, and they really need that. And we also want to make sure that we're responding to what they're saying. So if they select anything on the device and maybe they're just selecting, oh, put, and they're playing with it. Oh, do you want me to put the block over here that they're holding and try to like respond to what they're saying so that they learn that their words have meaning? Feel free to reach out if you have any questions at all about TouchChat and WordPower 60 Basic. Thank you so much for your time.